Yo, 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 what it do? What it be, y'all? It's your boy, Agent A&T, coming to y'all live with a little NBA 2K20 commentary. And today we're going to be talking about a subject that is near and dear to my heart, really. Because this shit is really, it's always been out of control to me. And I don't get the people who argue against it, so let's get right into it. What's crazy to me is the fact that as time has gone on in both the NFL and the NBA, the referees haven't been held to a higher standard like the players have. Now, I'm going to be real. I ain't really in tune with the MLB, NHL, and soccer referee situation, so I can't really speak on those. But as far as the NFL and the NBA goes, I mean, look, just about 10 years ago, the NFL refs went on strike, alright? And then the replacement refs called the infamous Hail Mary call in the Seattle-Green Bay game, which led to the NFL finally reaching a deal with the refs and bringing in the real officials back. And then in 2017, the NFL started a full-time program where a certain amount of refs would be paid full-time and correspond with players, coaches, and management throughout the playing season and the off-season. And then in 2018, that number rose to include 20% of the NFL referees. But in the beginning of the 2019 season, with the upcoming NFLPA CBA negotiations coming up, and the referees CBA also, getting negotiated and stuff like that, the NFL decided to suspend the full-time referee program until further notice. And even there this season, with the suspension of the refs or whatever, the full-time referee program, this season we saw, in football at least, there's been the new challenge rule for pass interference. And, basketball, they have a new challenge rule too, but we'll get to that in a minute. But in the NFL, just this season, they started the rule to where you can challenge a pass interference call. And we actually seen cases this year, even several cases, where a pass interference call would be called. It clearly was not pass interference. However, after review, it would still be called pass interference, even if there was blatant evidence that it wasn't. It's like the refs didn't want to be wrong or something. Like, how hard is it for the refs to, is it asking too much for the refs to admit they made a mistake? I get they have a tough job, because we get reminded almost every time they make a tough call or a bad call. The refs have a tough job. You can't please everybody, and I get that. But, the players, the coaches, and the announcers aren't even allowed to say anything negative in public, no matter how bad the refs screw up an important call, or they'll call a BS game-changing penalty, or even do a no call, as we've seen in the NFL. And the least they could do, if there's a rule in place and a messed up call can be fixed right then and there, why can't we do that? Because the refs can't admit they're wrong? I don't know. They should, if there's more than enough evidence to challenge, it shouldn't come down to a referee. It should come down to a higher person or something to tell the referees, no, you're wrong. And it didn't really matter, like I said, if the refs were paid full-time or not, because we were still getting these BS calls. So, look, 3 prime examples of where the NFL refs ruined a game with a BS call was obviously the Dez Bryant no catch. The NFL has this thing where, they'll make a bad call and then change the ruling the year later to kind of say sorry to the team, even though it changes It doesn't change the playoff game. It doesn't change anything. I mean, what are the chances of the play happening again for that team, in that setting? But it's to make sure other teams don't get screwed like they did. Like, it's obvious. Like the Saints with the pass interference rule, the no call on the Rams this year or last year, that sent the Rams into the Super Bowl. That, arguably the Super Bowl could have been different if the Saints would have went against the Patriots. But we'll never know now, because the refs didn't want to call a blatant pass interference, And like I said with the Dez no catch, it was clearly a catch. He just, the ball came out after, he made the catch, and they ruled it, down or whatever, or no, incomplete. Ridiculous. He caught it, took 2 steps. How is it not a catch, man? Ridiculous. So then next year they change it, and it's just like the Cowboys' hopes were already gone and dashed. So what does it really change? You think what are the chances of a play like that ever happening again? It's a little too much, too late. And even they even sent an email out, and the NBA kind of does the same thing, or they'll send like a 2-minute end of quarter report or something like that, letting them know, we could have called this penalty, we shouldn't have called this one, with stuff like that. It doesn't change the game, so what's the point? I really don't get it. Because it's not like it changes the game in any way, shape, or form. So reporting on the mistakes that the referees made without them getting reprimanded for it, or you're just pointing them out. They're not really paying for the mistakes. You're just letting them know, hey, the refs messed up. Like they always do. And I'm sure, they'll get reprimanded behind the scenes, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. But like I said, it didn't even matter if the NFL refs were paid part-time or full-time. They're humans, and they're going to make mistakes. But also part of being human is admitting when you're wrong, which seems to be a problem for the NFL refs until the rules change, or until after the game and they send an email saying they were wrong, At least the NFL refs never had a gambling scandal and had guys like Joey Crawford working playoff games like the NBA did. Joey Crawford giving Tim Duncan 2 technical fouls for laughing on the bench is one NBA moment that sticks out in my mind. That was just like, come on now. Really? Against a star player like that? Come on now. That's just a little fishy. Come on. And even now, it's just crazy how the NBA is just now trying to implement a challenge system like the NFL had since 1999. So now NBA coaches can call a challenge for a hard foul, out of bounds, or basket interference call. Like I said, the NFL has had this system since 99, and the USFL started the concept in 85. It's taken them 21 years to adapt to instant replay challenge technology. Come on now. I'm calling BS on that. Like, the NBA is full of moments in games where it's clear like one team was favored by the refs. Like, the most obvious series that sticks out in my mind is, of course, the Lakers and Kings in 2002. And more recently, the 2006 finals between the Heat and the Mavs, which Heat fans can argue all they want. Tim Donaghy came out and said that it was rigged. The motherfucker who's doing jail time for rigging NBA games, the man who literally has nothing else to lose, they can't take away his freedom, they can't take away his job, came out and said, hey, yeah, we rigged that series. And Heat fans want to say, D-Wade had all these points or whatever. There's arguments or whatever to prove that there wasn't rigging. But a ref came out and said it was rigged. And rigging doesn't necessarily mean making sure one team wins. It's making sure, one team scores a certain amount of points, or both teams stay within a certain, a certain amount of spread points of each other, shit like that. And Tim Donaghy literally got arrested and put in jail for rigging NBA games. And then the NBA tried to do their own investigation, and crazy enough, no one else, just Tim Donaghy was, even though Tim Donaghy went to school with Joey Crawford and a number of other NBA refs, he was the only one. No one else had any knowledge of it, right? Get the fuck out of here, man. Like, there really needs to be, like, I'm not saying the NBA is rigged. I mean, there's evidence that it has been in the past, but I'm just saying, for referees to do, to fuck up the integrity of the game, because that's what every professional sport needs, is just a little bit of integrity. Without that, it's nothing. That's what rules are for. That's why there are referees, to enforce the rules, to enforce the integrity of the game. And when the referees are the one that are, messing up the integrity of the game, they need to be the ones in trouble for it or punished for it. There has to be a system. Players get fined. NFL players and NBA players get fines and suspensions for conduct detrimental to the league and the association's image. So why can't the NFL refs get reprimanded for giving out bad calls consistently, or changing the course of a game or the end of a game by pulling a non-call, or not calling an obvious penalty, or even calling a penalty that wasn't there, or even not overturning a call that wasn't right to begin with. Like, they didn't even look. Like, look at just this year alone. I'll just bring up the playoffs because Saints fans are still crying about it. I'm a Minnesota fan. Kyle Rudolph pushed off. I'll admit that. But the refs didn't even look at it. Like, why would you have a rule in place where if a player pushes off, which Kyle Rudolph did, straight up just pushed off, extended his arm and pushed off to get the touchdown, that didn't call it? I mean, granted, the defender didn't even look for the ball, but it's goal line. He has 5 yards to do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to look at the ball within that 5 yards. And by the time the ball was thrown, it's a ticky-tacky situation, yeah, but they should have reviewed it, or they should have called it back. Something. Replay, something. But, I mean, I as a Minnesota fan, I could admit it was a weird occurrence that they why have a rule in place if you're not going to call it, or only call it sometimes, in certain situations. That's not a penalty you call. No, bullshit. If it's a penalty, it's a penalty. If it's pass interference in the last minute, it's pass interference. Call that shit. As a sports fan, I want to see a fair, competitive game, whether my team wins or loses. I don't want, players and other fans might not care how their team wins, if they cheat or whatever. I'm sure Saints fans don't care whether that people bring up their tainted Bounty Gate ring all the time, because they have one. I'm sure Tom Brady fans and Patriots fans don't care that half of his rings are tainted and have an asterisk by them, technically, if you want to go there. But, I mean, it reflects negatively some way because people bring it up, right? It's controversy. And Brady got suspended. Belichick and them got suspended. The Saints got fined. Had a coach suspended. Why can't referees get the same thing for when they, make a terrible call or make consistently bad calls? And like I said, I'm sure they do probably get reprimanded behind the scenes. And they probably don't get to play or officiate playoff games or championship games and shit like that. I don't care about that. I want to see something public. Players get fined monetarily and publicly when they fuck up. Why can't referees call them out by name? Yeah, I think we are civilized enough to, not ruin a guy's whole life over a couple of bad calls. But if he's consistently making bad calls, he doesn't deserve to have a job just like everybody else. I think they're far too protected. And it boggles my mind that there are people out there who say, well, we don't want a lot too many instant replays. It slows down the game and this and that. No, it doesn't. You know why it slows down the game? Because referees are making bad calls. And they don't know what to call. You know what would make calls easier? If we had instant replay. Or if the NBA and NFL hired a group of senior officials, one at every game, so that way when a tough call comes up or a controversial call comes up, they can go out there, huddle up with the refs, ask them what they saw, go review under the booth, whatever, instant replay, slow-mo, all that, go back to the refs, here's what I saw, and here's how we should call it. And if they don't want to waste resources on hiring that team, then they have to find some way to make sure these guys are literally in control of who wins and who loses, and I feel like they're overprotected. I know there's going to be fans and people who are not happy with any decision a referee makes against their team. It's people like that. I'm like that too. But even as a fan watching Broncos games, when their penalty gets called, that's a hold. It's just being, you see the instant replay. Holding happens every play. When they decide to call it, and you see the replay, let it ride. But like pass interference, they get the call wrong. They throw the PI flag. There's no PI. They get reviewed, and then it still stands because they're afraid to admit they're wrong. I think every play should be reviewable. Because how many times have they called a holding penalty on the wrong player, and you're like, oh well, he didn't do that, so I don't know what they saw.
Are we leaving right now or what?
They should be able to review that. If the referee messed up, called the wrong name out, you should be able to review it. And if that player didn't do anything that they said that he did, that should be reversed. Point blank, period. Referees just out here blowing calls and just calling out random names when penalties happen and shit in the NFL. And then the NBA refs, they get, they demand respect, yet some of the way they talk to some of these players is disrespectful. And it's low-key biased, because I know they don't talk to every player like that. I know every player, isn't, Dirk or whatever, respectful. But that's literally the referee's job, is to be unbiased. It doesn't matter who, how rowdy the player is or whatever, how rah-rah he is. It don't matter. Your job as a referee is to call a fair, unbiased game, no matter who it is. And I feel like sometimes that doesn't happen, especially in the NBA. In the NFL, I'm sure it's a different story. I mean, Saints fans will tell you they're getting screwed every year, which it's kind of true, but I mean, shit happens. And until, the referees are held to a higher standard or have more accountability for their actions, this is going to keep happening. That's just my opinion, though. And that's just how I see it. There needs to be a system in place where referees need to get punished, fined, suspended, whatever, for disrespecting the league, fucking up the league's image, fucking up the integrity. But that's just my opinion, though. If y'all enjoyed the video, go ahead and subscribe, ring the damn bell. I got more hot content dropping, little things stopping, all that. Go ahead and leave a like or a dislike. It don't matter. Leave a comment as to why you liked or disliked, though. That's dope. But
Y'all
yeah.
old for that.
Be safe out there, y'all. Don't get smoked. It's been your boy, Agent A-N-T from the Spell Block Agency. And yeah, I'm the elevated gamer and the above average gamer too, and all that. So be safe out there, y'all. Like I said, don't get smoked. I got like 5 minutes left. This is a little 21 game I ran with my little slam dunk team. I got Isaiah Ryder, Chocolate Thunder, Daryl Dawkins, yeah, and Larry Nance, who low key out here busting threes too. But it's pretty much the end of the video. I ain't got shit else to really say. I'm gonna get this stop. Watch my guy Larry Nance swack this three in their face, and I'm gonna call it a video. I'm gonna let y'all enjoy the rest of it, cause I was out here just throwing oops, nasty splash. All right, peace. I'm out. Ah! Yeah, I told y'all I'm about to start going off with these niggas. Fuck out of here. Cross. Oh, nice shit. Good shit. Nope, don't try it. Fuck out of here.
No, fuck out of here.
Go. Go. Ah, nigga. The fuck? Oh no. Ah. Goofy? What you thought this was? Thought he was. Good fucking D. Fuck. Let's go. Oh no, what the fuck? Bitch. Stop it. Off my back. Get off my back. Oh, out of bounds. What the fuck? Yeah, that shit. Get the fuck off me, kid.
finally hit one.